Hello, welcome to Weatherwise. I am your host, meteorologist Nathan Scott, and today we're talking about what's happening in the night sky. And for all you sky watchers out there, you definitely want to tune into this episode. Joining me right now is the president of the Central Arkansas Astronomical Society. This is Michael Borelli. And Michael, you are here to talk about some sky watching tips, also some events that will be happening over the next couple months. But let's talk about what is your organization all about?
Our organization is a group of amateur astronomers who enjoy astronomy, learning more about it, whether they enjoy it by simply reading or they want to get out there. We have an observatory out near Bigelow called the River Ridge Observatory. We have telescopes there that our club members can use, or they can bring their own equipment out there to either observe or do astrophotography. It's a means to enjoy the hobby.
Now, this observatory, is it open to the public or is it just for members only?
It's for members only for most nights, but it's open to the public monthly when we have our monthly meeting.
And you have all your meetings posted on the website. I believe we have that. Let's go Storm Track 11 now. You got a nice website here, upcoming events. You got sky conditions. There's a lot of information on your website, first of all.
Yes, there is. And just sometimes it's a little overbearing for some people when they first see it. But yeah, just take the time to get to use the website, and there's a great deal of information.
What kind of members are you looking for to join your organization?
Anyone who's interested in astronomy and wants to learn more about it.
And this love of astronomy has been happening since you were a kid. Just like when I was a kid, I loved meteorology, also loved astronomy, especially meteor showers. We're going to be talking about meteor showers in just 1 second. But what brought your interest to astronomy?
I was born in Hoboken, New Jersey, and we moved down to Camden, New Jersey in the late 50s. My parents one day decided to take us to the Franklin Institute over in Philadelphia. And they have the Fells Planetarium there. And we went to the planetarium show, and my mind was blown. The stars, the planets, and everything like that. And I just, at that point, I said, Mom, get me books from the library, and that's where it started. Got my first telescope when I was 7, and it's been on the way since then.
Now, sky watching has changed so many years. We used to have, National Audubon Society, Night Sky book, which is a great book that I grew up with. But now, thanks to the internet and thanks to apps, it's much easier to find certain things in the night sky versus looking at a star map, being like, okay, I'm looking in the right direction. You said that a lot of younger people these days are using different apps.
They're using phone apps, Sky Safari and things like that. Some of them are free, some of them you have to pay for. And you literally take your phone, you hold it up to the sky and you move around, it'll tell you what you're looking at. You can punch in what you want to find, it'll direct you there. There are even telescopes you can buy now that are computerized. They're called go-to telescopes. You punch in what you want, it'll take you there. And some of them cost as little as $350 to $500. It's an amazing way. And you see it not by looking through the telescope, but it has a camera in it and it projects it on your phone or tablet.
So when people come to the observatory or other star parties, as you call it, they just bring themselves, they don't need a telescope, they don't need binoculars. What do you hope that they will get out of these events and star parties?
Wonderment of the heavens. Seriously, I mean, it's one of the greatest things when you have young children get up there and their first time they see Saturn or the moon or something through the telescope and the look on their face. Is that real? Is that TV? No, it's real. You're looking at it, and then you use a laser pointer. I can point up, there's Saturn. See that yellow star there? And then they're seeing it there. So yeah, that's an amazing feeling. And when you see that, and then their parents want to learn more, as I said, it's wonderment of the heavens. Something our ancestors did all the time, but now with television, the internet, and everything like that, we don't do it as much. And a big problem is when you live in the city, light pollution is so bad.
Yeah.
They estimate that almost 65% of the people in the United States have never seen the Milky Way.
And that's hard to believe. Let's bring up now Max 2 Perry, because we have a graphic on light pollution here just in Arkansas. But you can find this, just Google it, light pollution map, and you can find it anywhere across the United States. People may be surprised on how much light pollution really takes over a large part of the natural state, but there are some areas where the sky is pretty dark.
Right. For example, if they come up to our River Ridge Observatory near Bigelow, you can see the Milky Way very clearly, and it's a beautiful sight. You will get a better view if you go. We have a dark sky festival, Arkansas Dark Sky Festival, every fall, and that's up at the Buffalo National River, even darker, and it is an amazing feat. If you go to one of the websites, the Arkansas Night Sky Association, ANSA, and they have pictures, beautiful pictures from the Dark Sky Festival of the Milky Way, of different nebula and things like that. And you can actually, if you go up there, see those things through the telescope and with your naked eye, see the beautiful Milky Way.
It really is breathtaking because you don't think about going on vacation trying to find some really dark place, but Sedona, Arizona is known for it. And I remember just a few years ago, my wife and I, we went to Arches National Park in Moab, Utah, and we were at Delicate Arch. We waited for nightfall because there was a huge crowd there. And just the majestic beauty of what the night sky looks like out there. I've never seen so many stars in my life, and how much more vivid the Milky Way was, because there's hardly any light pollution out in that part of the country, was just something I will never forget.
Well, just even a big one. A very good friend of mine, Carl Schultz, he's a member of our club, and he does most of his observing from his backyard here in Little Rock. And then when he went up, brought his telescope up to our River Ridge Observatory, the first time, he's looking around going like this. I said, "Carl, what's the problem?" He says, "Too many stars. I can't find what I'm looking for." And I had to laugh. I had to laugh at him. Sorry, Carl. But it was really funny that it was confusing. And there are way more than people understand there are. You can see some of the brightest stars from Little Rock, but not make out many of the constellations. So some people say, they look and say, "Oh, I see the Big Dipper, that's a constellation." Well, it's not. The Big Dipper is an asterism that we recognize. It's actually the body and the tail of Ursa Major, the large bear. But you can't see the rest of the constellation here in Little Rock, but you can if you go up to a darker area.
Yeah, so going back to that map, Pulaski County, it's just so much light pollution for the most part. So if you really want to get a good view of the sky, you have to head really west. West Central Arkansas, where these darker blues are, in Polk County, Montgomery County, Yell County. There's a huge difference, though, going from Little Rock to, say, Flatside, Pinnacle, because you're getting away from a whole bunch of light pollution. Ideal locations, though, would be Newton County and Searcy County, right where the Buffalo River is.
Buffalo River, but also at Lake Sylvia. Now it's a national forest that's being run by the state of Arkansas, and we have a star party out there every year, usually in March. Some of the darkest skies in Arkansas, and better than what we have at our observatory up near Bigelow. It's a beautiful place, and we're trying to get that designated as an international dark sky site and preserve that for Arkansans for years to come.
How would that go about, making it a international dark sky site?
That's a long process. One of our members, Bruce McMath, has had a lot of experience with that, and he's kind of taken point on this. He was one of the people that was working to have the Buffalo National River designated as an international dark sky site. And so he's looking at this, and we're making some progress. I can't say more than that at this time.
Yeah,
but yes, he's working to have that done, and that would be a great thing, not just for members of CAS, but for all Arkansans.
Okay. Well, we are out of time for this segment, but the next one we're going to be talking about meteor showers, because there's a lot of hype. You see it on social media. You can see hundreds of meteors with the Percy meteor shower. That is not true this year, and we'll explain why coming up. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Now we're talking about meteor showers. And meteor showers I used to always look forward to as a kid, because when I was growing up, there was a teacher at the local high school who would have an article in the paper and always talk about, here comes the Percy meteor shower, here comes the Leonids, here comes this meteor shower. And I would go out as a kid and spend hours waiting and watching. Some years it was amazing. Other years, I'm like, I wasted my night doing this. So we have a whole bunch of meteor showers that happen throughout the year. There are major meteor showers, there's minor meteor showers. there's a difference in every meteor shower.
Correct. The meteor showers are mostly, the periodic meteor showers occur when the Earth passes through the orbits of periodic comets. Like the Perseids that we have now are from the materials from Comet Swift-Tuttle. And then the Orionids, which is coming up, they're debris that was left by Halley's Comet. And the comets are always not consistent. It depends on how close they got to the sun and the angle of that year. And there's more or less debris as we hit them. So you'll see more meteor and brighter meteors some years. It's also very dependent on the phase of the moon. If you've got a full moon out,
yeah,
you'll see the brightest meteors. For example, right now we're nearing full moon. We have what we call like a 3/4 moon or a gibbous moon. And the Perseids are reaching their peak. And even if you go out to a dark sky site, you're only going to see the brightest meteors. And thank goodness, though, the Perseids have some of the brightest meteors of all the periodic showers.
So you look online, you Google Perseid meteor shower, and you see all these headlines. Amazing event, hundreds of meteors seen in the Perseids, and it really builds up people's expectations. And I try to keep things honest, like,
sure,
because as a kid, I fell into those expectations only to be disappointed. We don't want people to be disappointed.
Oh, absolutely not.
So with that said, we came up with a meteor shower graph for the rest of 2025. And I made this earlier this year. And I look at it, and honestly, I'm just like, there's not a lot to look forward to this year, because the big meteor showers, the Perseids and the Geminids, that are very dependable, have a near full moon, and that's just going to ruin the show for this year, unfortunately.
That's just the luck of the draw. So you were talking earlier that you have the American Meteor Society, and it's a great resource. If you go there, they have a meteor calendar, and they update it for each year, and they'll show you for each meteor shower what the phase of the moon will be. So you can go on there and say, oh, really regulate your expectations based on that.
Yeah.
And it's a great resource, and I encourage everyone to take a look at it.
And then also, the forecast that you see on the American Meteor Society, that's for ideal dark conditions. That's
correct.
Not for places like around the city, in the city. It's a whole different world. You really have to basically say, okay, that number is probably going to be 5 or 10% of that number that they're forecasting, maybe less than that.
I've lived in Little Rock for 20 years now, and I would say that in the city itself, where I live in West Little Rock, I have probably seen only 30 meteors. That's how light pollution has affected us here.
Yeah. And I have been fortunate enough to witness the Perseids when I was working in Tennessee. I went up to the top of a mountain, Roan Mountain. It's about almost 6,000 feet above sea level. It was a beautiful, clear sky, no moon, and I easily saw 70 meteors per hour before the clouds rolled in from the east. That was a magical night. That was the true definition of a meteor shower.
My Perseid moment was I was hiking with some buddies on the Appalachian Trail back east. We were camping out under the stars. It was cooler weather, no need for a tent. And we were watching the Perseids, and we saw at least 50 an hour. It was amazing.
Yeah, you're counting. It's not like you're waiting for 5-10 minutes, because people are impatient. You know, a meteor shower makes it sound like, oh, there's one.
Yes.
I can't keep up. That doesn't happen unless it was a meteor storm. Now, there was a meteor storm with the Leonids. What was that, 2004, something like that?
Something like that.
I was in college. I went out and got out of my dorm, and it was still a lot of light pollution, but that was an event I will never forget, because that was, there's one.
Oh, yeah.
That's a very rare event. So when we put in the expectation of a meteor shower, it's going to be like 5 minutes goes by, there's one. Another 5 minutes goes by, there's another one.
Well,
unless you're in perfect, ideal dark conditions.
And that's why it's always good to be out there with friends. You can talk in between, bring something to eat or drink.
Yeah.
And just have like a picnic out there, a meteor shower picnic, and it is enjoyable. And if you don't get many meteors, well, you get to have good time with your friends.
And some of the most popular places that people love to go, because it just happened last year with the Perseids, was the soccer complex right beside Pinnacle Mountain. That's an okay place if you have some time, but it's still light pollution, especially
to the east, which is where most of the radiation points or the radiance for the meteors will be when you want to see peak activity, because as the Earth rotates from west to east, you get that higher acceleration of the meteor coming in. It'll be brighter. Unfortunately, we got light pollution in the east.
And then also, it typically happens after midnight, right? You
Correct.
never see, meteor shower, it's going to happen 8, 9 o'clock in the evening. That's never the case, where they're always recommending it's after midnight until sunrise.
Right.
Why is that the case?
Again, that's where you're going to have, where we're hitting the orbit and the material in the orbits of the comets at its fastest rate. And so you're going to have brighter meteors when they're going faster, and they will emit more light. And that's what's happening.
They come in different colors.
Oh, yes. You can get blue, green, yellow, and then, of course, you get the rare fireball where you actually see flames licking off of it. And then the rarer bolide where it heats up so much it then explodes and makes a boom sound. And those are magical moments.
And so that boom sound is the shock wave.
It's the piece of material that is the meteor, a small pebble or something, actually exploding, yes.
That's pretty well. I've never seen that. I've seen a meteor bright enough to cast shadows, which was really surreal. But it's always fun when you're just like driving and you don't see, you don't know there's a meteor shower or there's no meteor shower, but you see that one shooting star, just like, whoa. What?
Yeah, we had one earlier here in Arkansas. I guess it was seen near Hot Springs. It was very, very bright, and people were wondering what the heck that was.
Yeah. People always want to know, hey, what's that object in the sky, especially now since we have SpaceX rockets that also can make for some interesting phenomenon in the night sky. Here's the breakdown in case you missed our talk of negativity for the most part. But there you see the Perseid meteor shower. Ideally, you want to get away from any city lights, but here's the breakdown. How many per hour you can expect this year? The city, 0, maybe 2 if you're very, very lucky. And then the suburbs, 0 to 10. The country, that's like White County or Perry County. Those locations, 10, maybe as much as 20, lean on the lower number. And then even ideal darkness areas, the Buffalo River out into Polk County. Low end 20, high end maybe 40, but it's all because of that pretty much almost near full moon that's just going to ruin the show this year and also ruin the Geminids. So boo, but there's always next year. All right, before we go, we're going to talk about some summer constellations and some other events that you may want to check out over the month of August. Stay tuned. The month of August, when you go outside, especially looking off to the south, you will see the constellations Sagittarius and also Scorpius. What are the easiest constellations that you would recommend maybe a first-time skywatcher to be on the lookout for this month?
Well, as you pointed out, Scorpius is one of the only constellations that looks exactly like what the name says. It looks like a scorpion. Sagittarius, to the east of it, can be seen not by the constellation itself, but by an asterism, a series, a pattern of stars that we recognize as a shape. It's called the teapot.
Okay.
And it does. It really looks like a teapot pouring down. If you start moving north, you'll see what's known as the Northern Cross, which is part of Cygnus the Swan. And then you can see Hercules. And to the west, you still will see the Big Dipper, which is not a constellation. It's an asterism, a shape that we recognize. It's part of the constellation Ursa Major, the Big Bear. And you will see then Cassiopeia rising to the east. It looks like a W, and that's the Queen Cassiopeia in her throne. So those are among the easiest ones to pick out.
Yeah, I would say definitely Scorpius is so easy because it looks like a fish hook for the most part in the sky. You can't miss it. it's going to be pretty low, close to the horizon, right? Or is it going to be?
No, it's fairly
pretty
high,
high.
especially if you go to an area that has a big southern exposure, and that's one of the nice things about our River Ridge Observatory. We have a beautiful southern exposure. And with a pair of binoculars, there are a lot of things to see, both in Sagittarius and in Scorpio, because the Milky Way, the center of the Milky Way is seen in the constellation of Sagittarius, and there are a bunch of nebula there, like the Lagoon Nebula, the Trifid Nebula. These are beautifully seen in binoculars only. There's several globular clusters in the area, and it's a beautiful area to go through with binoculars, even just the naked eye.
So binoculars can give you a really good view on star clusters. Mm-hmm. Can you see a nebula with binoculars?
Yes, some nebula. The Orion Nebula, the Great Nebula in Orion, is easily seen. So is the Lagoon Nebula, the Omega Nebula, which is M17, or you can even see the Eagle Nebula, M16. So they are seen very easily.
And nebulas are the birthplace of stars.
Yes, they are. It's gas and dust, and the stars that are already in there illuminate the nebula so we can see them.
It's so crazy to think every star that we see in the night sky, that is just within our Milky Way, right?
Yes.
And there's billions of galaxies out there, and it's just like, how can you even comprehend the expanse of the universe?
Well, actually, over hundreds of billions of galaxies now with what we're seeing with the James Webb Telescope and the Hubble Telescope, yes.
So that is a really interesting field, is the James Webb has gone far and above expectations, I guess.
Oh, yes.
Compared to what the Hubble produced, which has been amazing over the past several years. What else is to come, you think? Just like, as an amateur astronomer, what are you looking forward to in the future? Since, we have AI now, is that going to play a part in anything?
Well, as I said, being an amateur astronomer has many ranges. I love going out observing, doing astrophotography, but I also love reading about the latest discoveries and what we're learning more about how our universe came into being and how it has evolved and where it might go. That's constantly changing with the new data that we get from the James Webb Telescope. And to some people that seems to be unsettling, but as a retired research scientist, I'll tell you, scientists know what we know up to this point. Mm-hmm. But things change. As we learn new things, new vistas open up and we go to it. And some people are saying, well, why didn't you know everything? Well, we didn't. Go back to Galileo. He knew the best at the time.
Yeah.
Look where we've moved in astronomy from him.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, well, thank you for joining us here on Weatherwise. The next event open up to the public, do you know when that's going to be?
It's going to be our monthly meeting in September, and I can't remember the date.
Okay.
It's on our website, castastro.org.
Post it on your Facebook page too, right? You have a Facebook page, and that's just the Central Arkansas Astronomical Society. You just put that in the search engine, and anybody can join. All right. Well, I will have to make a trip out there to the observatory one time. I never knew it existed out there.
Well, you're welcome to.
But I definitely will be out there. Well, thank you for joining Weatherwise. We've got new episodes coming up every week. Until then, I'll see you soon.